that clip of the Morphling with the DD. They were down, almost out in that game, and suddenly they throned. So that's what I'm looking for from Team Spirit. Will they have the playmaking potential 30, 40 minutes into the game with their heroes? And they almost always give themselves that.
I think Spirit's they've been really good about hanging through their games. I feel like even ever since Kiev Major, when we played them in a best of one, I kind of realized this about their team. They have this really interesting thing they do pretty late on into the game where if they're behind, they'll take over your triangle, set up vision. And I think actually when it comes to playing around vision, they might be the strongest team out of all the teams still here. So I think that's going to be something that they want to look to utilize and abuse. Shocking first pick from IG, Pikaka Lion.
Couldn't have possibly expected this one. He has been only playing it pretty much every game of the main event. The thing I think about Team Spirit is when you mentioned they take over the opponent triangle and establish vision in weird places, I feel like when I'm watching them, they should be losing. I don't know if you know what I mean, but they're in this position where they don't look like they take standard fights. They don't look like they're holding standard parts of the map. And you just look at the net worth lead, and it never goes in favor of the opponent. And I think it's something that they're just so unique about that maybe these teams aren't prepared for. But the thing about IG compared to VP, for instance, is that I just think IG is much more solid in their game rather than being more on the aggressive. They just play to their own timings. VP's kind of run at you consistently, and Team Spirit's the type of team that if you mess up once, overextend once, they will punish you.
You guys have a lot of experience with this, but IG obviously is the favorite going into this, right? In terms of just the entire year, in terms of the scope. But Team Spirit has like all the momentum right now. Like how much of a difference do you think that actually makes at this stage?
I think it makes a huge difference for Team Spirit. I think right now they get Mars Bane. I think these are two heroes that they love playing. And I think of Collapse, Mars is like the first hero that comes to mind. And I think like when you feel like your heroes are working, when you feel like the ideas that you're coming into the tournament with are working, and you get that momentum building up like in the lower bracket as they have, that gives you confidence to just pick it. You're like, all right, screw it. We don't care about the Tidehunter. You don't second guess yourself like, maybe we should take the Tide because it's been so good at this tournament. You're like, nah.
It's funny because at the Animator, that's where they kind of, like everybody was picking Mars back then. He was really strong, but he's kind of tapered off with a couple of nerfs to go with it. And there's still a team that's not afraid to bring it first too. And then Bane, what the hell's happening with this hero? Usually not very good at TI or any tournament in the past God knows how many years, but it's being picked with a very high win rate now.
Yeah, he went through like a small dip in the group phase because for the tournaments leading up to TI, he was highly sought after, and then they gave him a slight nerf to Nightmare in the laning stage. But he just wins pretty much every lane. We saw somebody like save on VP yesterday, setting up countless ganks. The time that your team has to connect to you with the Nightmare, with how spread out teams tend to be playing right now, it's just so much easier. The ease of execution, the follow-up stuns is all you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And picking it early like this, because you have the Enfeeble, a lot of teams right now tend to run some sort of healing hero or some sort of healing mechanic in their drafts. You kind of say no heals for you. It's kind of like if you think about Rubik. When people pick Rubik, you don't really want to pick certain heroes against them because it gives Rubik these tools. The Bane fills a pretty similar role right now in terms of how the Enfeeble specifically interacts with other healing spells. So on top of that also, I think it's one of Miposhka's like staple heroes.
We see Monkey King, Lina in the second phase. Monkey King even getting to the second phase is kind of crazy considering how strong it's been as mostly a support, but we did see in the last series position 1 for PSG LGD. And Wyvern, another save taken out. That's a hero that's kind of dropped off considerably since the last 6 months. That was like a hero every single game with Mars, or not necessarily with Mars, but just two of the heroes that were just spammed big time back in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. I love December ban, actually. I think when it comes to IG, they really seem to look at their best when Emo is on a hero that can like kind of play make, but also scale up into the game. And currently with the items that Ember buys, I feel like he fills those two roles probably the best out of any hero I've seen Emo play. So I think it's really, really good ban from Team Spirit.
Yeah, so my question for you, Aiden, is they have this Bane-Mars combo, and the reason why I see Tide getting picked is neither of those two heroes deal with Kraken Shell. They want to have somebody to jump. Tide's always going to present themselves as the target, and on paper, these two heroes don't have the way to deal with it. So do you pick something like Disruptor? Do you pick a carry that's going to buy Silver Edge? What are you thinking like going into the second phase to address this Tidehunter?
So I think the really cool thing about Spirit is Yatora has such a wide hero pool, and it's been reflected in the fact that he's not played the same hero twice, right? But I feel like he can play both some sort of tempo control hero and he can play some scaling hero. So it depends really on what kind of approach Spirit wants to take. If they want to play maybe some more pacing hero, then yeah, I could see the Disruptor on the Bane as a 4 and try to play Disrupt really fast. I think generally speaking though, Mira tends to play more traditional position 4 heroes. I think he used to be a core player actually before he started to play 4, so not like that 5 that moved to 4. So I doubt they run the Bane 4. I think most likely it's going to be a Miposhka Bane.
Are you expecting this to be, I guess we don't know yet, but there's some flexibility with the Tidehunter, whether it's actually support or off lane. We've seen a lot of support this tournament for Ty. Why do you guys